Why do they call it a UNESCO World Heritage Site but never teach you its real story? The Great Mosque of Djenné stands as the largest mud brick structure on Earth, yet they buried the truth about how your ancestors created architectural genius that still baffles engineers today. Right now, tourists photograph this masterpiece without knowing they are witnessing the culmination of 8 centuries of African innovation. They don't tell you that when Europeans were building crude stone towers, your people in Mali had already perfected a technique so sophisticated that modern architects study it in reverence. The year was 1200 CE. While Europe stumbled through the Dark Ages, the Empire of Mali was experiencing its golden dawn. In the city of Djenné, master builders called the Barey, the traditional masons, developed something revolutionary. They discovered that when you mix clay with rice husks, millet chaff, and shea butter, you create a material stronger than many modern composites. But here's what they never mention in those glossy travel magazines. The mosque you see today isn't just a building, it's a living testament to African engineering mastery. Every single brick was shaped by hand. Every measurement calculated without modern instruments. Every angle designed to channel the scorching Sahel winds into cooling breezes. Sunkalo, that's what the people of Djenné call the annual replastering ceremony. Picture this: every spring, the entire community gathers as one family. Men carry buckets of fresh clay mixture of bamboo ladders. Women prepare the traditional plaster with recipes passed down through 40 generations. Children hand up tools and water. The whole city becomes the mosque's maintenance crew. This isn't just community service, it's sacred science. The Barey knew something Western architects are only now rediscovering. Mud brick architecture isn't primitive, it's perfectly adapted to its environment. The thick walls absorb heat during the day and release it slowly at night. The building literally breathes with the desert's rhythm. In 1907, the French colonial administration tried to improve the mosque with modern materials. They added concrete reinforcements and metal supports. Within a decade, those European additions were cracking and failing while the original African mud brick stood perfectly intact. Your ancestors had engineered their materials to expand and contract with temperature changes, something the colonizers never understood. The prayer hall can hold 3,000 worshippers. Think about that number. In medieval times, when London barely had 50,000 residents, this single African building could house a congregation larger than most European cities. The roof is supported by 90 massive pillars, each one precisely calculated to distribute weight without modern mathematics, yet the structure has never collapsed in 8 centuries. Those distinctive wooden beams protruding from the walls, they call them toran, and decorations. They are permanent scaffolding, designed so the building can maintain itself forever. While European cathedrals required massive external buttresses, African architects built maintenance access directly into their design. Genius hiding in plain sight. Here's what really burns: they list it as a World Heritage Site, but they frame it as primitive architecture. They use words like vernacular and traditional, code words that diminish African achievement. They can't call it what it truly is, the world's most sustainable architecture, created by master engineers who solved problems modern construction still struggles with. The Sunkalo scholars of Timbuktu studied the mathematical principles behind Djenné's construction. They calculated acoustics so precisely that a whispered prayer in one corner can be heard clearly across the vast prayer hall. They engineered natural air conditioning using thermal mass principles that today's green building movement considers revolutionary. Turkish architects traveled to Mali to study these techniques. Persian builders adapted Djenné's innovations for their own desert cities. Yet Western education presents African architecture as if it never influenced anyone, never inspired anyone, never mattered to world civilization. Every time you see that mosque's iconic silhouette, those 3 towering minarets reaching toward infinity, remember this: you're looking at proof that African creativity didn't just participate in world architecture. It led it. It perfected sustainable building when sustainability wasn't even a concept. Your ancestors weren't just builders. They were environmental scientists, acoustic engineers, and thermodynamics experts wrapped into one. They created beauty that functions, art that serves, and monuments that endure. The Great Mosque of Djenné doesn't just stand as Africa's architectural crown jewel. It stands as evidence that your people have always been the innovators they tried to erase from history. When you understand this truth, you carry their genius in your DNA and their vision in your future. Follow Ponor Lens, because your heritage holds the blueprints to tomorrow.